From TMP to TTNG, for sure the cure and those tired meme jeans. Helican Sella and the promise ring. Sunny day, real estate and rights this spring. Prince Twinkle Daddies help keep the dream alive. I constantly thank God for Algernon and Remo Christie front drive. Mineral, snowing, high tide hotelier and more. Rio Limo only consists of the DC emotive hardcore. But you gotta admit, Kyle and Ellie really on that emo bullshit. You gotta admit that Kyle and Ellie really on that emo bullshit. Have you heard the tired and disavowed lonely word? Have you heard the disavowed and lonely word? Have you heard the lonely disavowed word? Have you heard the tired and lonely disavowed word?
Episode 59 of the E-Word. This is Kyle. I'm recording here in Madison, Wisconsin. Throwing it over to Ellie in Austin, Texas.
I can't stop thinking about Adam Sandler, and it's becoming like a huge problem for me. There's this person on Twitter, the handle is Joanna New Sum 41, which is genius. It's my buddy Ivan, who ended up doing this huge compilation for like in conjunction with Blink 155. That was like a benefit. And they just tweet about Adam Sandler and Hubie Halloween constantly, and it got to me. And I've really just been thinking about how if Billy Madison came out in 2015 instead of 1995, I think it would be like a Zoomer touchstone, because it's just as surreal and absurdist as Hot Rod or Wet Hot American Summer. And it also was critically reviled the same way as those movies were. But I think it really, really holds up. There's not a lot of problematic jokes in that movie. There's a couple because, Adam Sandler is at heart like a bro.
It's just a guy. That's why I love it.
Well, but there's jokes in Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore that feel like they could not have been in a Mike Myers or Jim Carrey movie in the mid-90s. In Billy Madison, Steve Buscemi having that list of people who bullied him in high school to go and murder, that's so dark and out of left field, and I don't see that being in Liar Liar or Ace Ventura, or Ben Stiller and Happy Gilmore just committing elder abuse the entire runtime is genius. And after this podcast is over, I'm just gonna do a double feature of Big Daddy and Uncut Gems and just experience the whiplash.
Big Daddy was the first PG-13 movie I saw.
I think same, yeah. I had it on VHS that my parents stole from Blockbuster. They just forgot to return it, and then we moved to another state with it. That movie is fucking great. Scuba Steve is really funny. Them throwing sticks in front of rollerbladers at the park is really funny.
That McDonald's bit is pretty classic.
Yeah.
I watched that. I went out to Jersey. I went and visited some friends a couple weeks ago, and I actually watched Big Daddy for the first time in years.
And it weirdly holds up, right?
Yeah.
I watched it twice in the past 3 weeks.
Even truly awful Adam Sandler movies, I can't bring myself to fully hate because he's so charming. And I really think the problem is that he just reminds me of my dad, really heavily. They both have the same egg-shaped head, even. My mom thinks Adam Sandler is hot, which explains a lot.
He was ripped though in the Zohan. He had abs.
Oh, for real? Yeah. And I've also been thinking a lot about cults because of that Nexium thing. And then me and Dina watched a 3-season documentary television show about Scientology that Leah Remini did. How are you, Kyle?
I'm doing okay, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. I've been distracting myself a lot. But we have For Your Health here.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we have
Hello.
Hayden and we have Damien.
Hello.
A
Are you both in Ohio, or is one of... I know that Arrow's in her...
Damien's East Coast, right?
I'm in Ohio. I moved to Ohio.
Okay.
And I am currently in Ohio. Hayden is currently not in Ohio, but resides in Ohio.
I reside in places.
Huh.
I'm currently in Alabama.
Oh, word. How's Alabama right now? I know we're like gonna do election talk later, but I feel like I really overreacted in thinking that there was gonna be a lot of like violence in and around the election. I think that I like jumped the gun on that, and I still think there might be some, but I do like worry about my homies who are in like southern states or states that just have like a high concentration of Trump voters.
I don't know. I think no, I was surprised. Well, I didn't think Biden was gonna win, and then I thought people were gonna riot, but that didn't happen, obviously. So I don't know. It seems fine.
I can tell Kyle is already like, we have a section.
No,
So-
no. I think talking about where we were is valid for the top, and how safe or unsafe we would have been. That's valid. But yeah, I made a note on this rundown that we will have the inevitable election discussion in its own section, so it doesn't just hog any talk about For Your Health and your new record and everything else. So we'll talk about that later. But I suppose for follow-up, we just put out the episode with Welp, It's 2 a.m. Not really surprisingly, but it's one of the bigger episodes of the year. And I had a lot of people that don't normally tune into the podcast being like, holy shit, you had the Welp, It's 2 a.m. person on the podcast, which is funny. Because
Yeah,
everybody loves that page.
because Jenkman is just like my homie.
People's reaction to Johnny Foreigner was like, I don't know, I feel like we like mentioned so many bands, but Jenkin mentioning Johnny Foreigner just like resulted in people being like, that band fucking sucks, and holy shit, this band's awesome, and holy shit, I haven't heard of this band in a long time. And I was really
That band is
surprised
such
by
a
that.
weird. That's a very early, right before the 2010s type band.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I
They
found out.
encapsulate like almost every genre that was like really happening in 2008 or whatever.
What's that other UK like emo pop
Los Campesinos.
Yeah.
Los Campesinos.
band? No. They were like kind of like mainstream post-hardcore-y. I think their name starts with an F.
Funeral for Fred.
Yeah, Funeral for a Friend.
Oh, there
Like,
you go.
I always thought of them as like in like a post-Funeral for a Friend sense.
Oh, yeah.
And I've still never listened to them, so that comparison is probably like real whack. But maybe I'll listen to them this week. Maybe I'll write an essay about them. We'll see. Kyle, you have here that nobody asked about the Stars Hollow song, but that's not true. Somebody asked about it in Midwest Emo posting.
That's
They
why
were
I
like,
didn't
"What
see
was
it.
that track?" And I was like, "It's Stars Hollow," and they were like, "Leak it," and I said, "Nah." And then Ian Cohen posted like the eyes emoji.
But yeah, if you want to hear like 40 seconds of a Stars Hollow song that's not released yet, it's like around the 8-minute mark in the last episode.
Tyler was like, "I wasn't expecting you to actually do it."
Yeah, if anyone wants us to leak songs, DM us.
Yeah. We're the new fucking two dope boys. We're the new not right.
Was it the other website hasitleaked.com? Or
Oh yes.
that was a good one.
Has it leaked?
Or Kingdom Leaks.
Yep,
I remember
that's
Kingdom
right.
Leaks.
Yep.
There's still a thing. I remember the Vane LP was like huge on Kingdom Leaks, and I was like, people still use this website. All right.
Well,
Let's do our FYH rundown.
all right. So I guess the breaking news is when this episode is out, LP1 will be announced.
So debut LP for Your Health. It's
title is In Spite Of. It's coming out on 12 Gauge Records, February 12th. We recorded in Pittsburgh with the legend Owen Trainer of Shin Guard.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Sick.
I think their influence really shines through on the record. They did much more than record it, They produced the record and mixed it. And yeah, we worked pretty closely with them, and I'm really excited for everyone to hear it.
Was Owen like a big influence, like sonically, like on the writing of the record? Because without giving too much away, like I think this is like y'all are pushing yourself further, like both in terms of heaviness and melody. There's like a real good interplay. It reminds me a lot of like late period Page 99, or like a little bit I Have Dreams. Just kind of this like really forceful blend of panic chords and catchiness, anxiety catchiness, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Also, like not to get like too much like fangirly, but the guitar work and the vocals are like the best that I've heard from For Your Health, like out of your whole discography. Like it sounds like y'all just fucking ripped shit up in the studio.
Sick. Thank you. I appreciate that.
About Owen's sonic influence, I would say not really. Because we wrote this, pretty much this record got written back in March when we were about to leave for South by Southwest, and then COVID hit, instead of going on tour, because tour is canceled forever. We like, our drummer lives in Baltimore, Mike. So they were down in Columbus, and we already had the time off work and everything, and it ended up not mattering because everybody's job shut down like immediately. Yeah,
within 2 days.
Yeah, we holed up in a practice spot and wrote the record over the course of like 7 days, like a week. It's funny. We had one song going in and like a skeleton of another.
We had the first and last song, basically.
Yeah,
Right.
We had the bookmarks. We just needed the pages. We had the cover. We needed the pages.
Yeah.
You had the beginning and the end of the arc. Now you just need the character development.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah.
I knew how I wanted it to start and end.
Which is honestly probably, that's good. I think that's a good. I mean, it's an the way we wrote this record was real cool. I thought because, we had the first and last song written, and then I was like, the way we were writing was like kind of weird because like we would do like, okay, this will be the outro of the previous song that's yet to be written, and then it bleeds into the next song, and then we'd write and then we'd go back and say, okay, now let's write the intro, the beginning part of this outro, or whatever. In that respect, like we took a lot of time to make sure that everything, like that it flowed real, seamlessly, which I think we did a decent job of doing.
It's one movement. We wrote the songs based on how they would fit as like one piece of like nonstop art, and like it sort of, they all fell together like that. So it's like interesting. We already had like the track listing like way before the record was done, and we knew how it was gonna play out, and that in and of itself was cool. But like,
because we were prepared going in.
Yeah, we've never writing the like last two releases. We didn't, like the first one we did, Nosebleeds, like our first 7-inch. That one was sort of just like, that was before we even knew the band was going to be a band. We were just jamming. We wrote a bunch of songs really quickly. Not even a bunch, like 6 or 7 songs pretty quickly, like over the course of like 2 days. And we played them at a show. And we decided we should record them and stuff. So that's just that. Death of Spring, we spent a little bit more time at. We wrote those songs over the course of maybe like 3 or 4 practices, and that we just decided we were gonna like on our first tour, we decided we were going to do a split with Shin Guard when we met them, and we made it happen. And like we set a recording date and everything, and we recorded that with Owen as well. We all went up to Pittsburgh and hung out for a couple days. But it's like, I remember we wrote one of those songs like literally like the day before we were supposed to record or whatever, like from the ground up.
Was that Interflesh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like very off the cuff. But this one has had like, in spite of, we've had a lot more time to like sort of ruminate on things and change things. It's interesting. There was no road testing. I remember some of the songs we got to play like before, like on the other stuff, we got to play before they were recorded and play them in a live setting. This one we were playing the first track, Birthday Candles, a little bit on tour, but other than that, all these songs sort of we wrote and then recorded, and we haven't yet had a chance to play them live or even all together as a band, because a lot of the lyrics were written after the music was written in March.
I feel like you can hear like the evolution, like going from Nosebleeds to the LP, because like you were saying, like you can kind of hear that Nosebleeds is like very disjointed, and I love it for that. Like it's like very aggressive and scattershot and has like almost kind of a mathcore vibe. But you can hear like on Death of Spring it becoming a lot more like purposeful and focused and cohesive. And then the new LP sounds like one like movement. And it's like 17 minutes, right? So it's just like blisteringly intense. Less than 20-minute listen, and it feels like 5.
Nice.
So,
Stoked.
I hate things that get boring.
it does not get boring.
I saw I was in the Rate Your Music trenches recently, and somebody said that one of their criticisms of our songs was they feel like some of them drag.
Which one?
I don't know, because we've only written like 2 songs over the 2-minute mark.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't like it, that's cool. Just say that. But
Yeah,
I don't
know.
I don't think so.
We don't normally repeat parts or anything.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you don't like it. That's
Hey, did anyone at the venue you played in Austin ever talk to you about the piece of the ceiling that you broke off when you were trying to hang from it?
No, they didn't give a shit.
Sick. That's what I like to hear when a venue is just like, yeah, just fuck us up, fam.
I mean, I don't think they were really present. It was just the sound guy, and I don't know, he didn't care.
Yeah, that's a throwback. I forgot. That feels like so long ago, and it was a year and 3 months.
Yeah, and I've been waiting to go to Sundays with y'all again ever since. I'm like waiting for Godot.
I never got to see For Your Health because I think I was on tour when you played Milwaukee with Shin Guard, and then COVID ruined the Soul Glow For Your Health gift show. Yeah.
Rip. That hurts.
Did we play Milwaukee twice, Damien?
Yeah, we did. We played it.
Oh wait, there was a show that
Plague Walker, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the same night as a regional justice center show in Milwaukee. And I think a lot of people were like trying to get people to leave early to go to the next one. And I don't live in Milwaukee, so I couldn't do a doubleheader.
Some of the people came from that show, so it couldn't have been hard. One of the bands I'm pretty sure played both shows.
Was it Life's, the 2 older guys? They were in what was the band name? 7 Days of Samsara.
Hell yeah.
It was a really big deal when that band played their last show, but now I don't hear anyone talk about them anymore, which sucks.
I went to the last show. It was a Majority Rule show as well.
Yeah, they're a really good band.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to Alex from Infant Island, I think last month. They were just like sending me obscure old Majority Rule songs that you can only find like under 100 people view videos on YouTube for. And Majority Rule used to suck really bad. Like, it took them a long time to like stop being like a terrible 83 type punk band.
Shout out to No Man though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their new record is sick.
Yeah.
This is a really cool band.
Yeah, they rule. I love them. We played with them one time with Pog, right? Or Portrayal of Guilt. I shouldn't say Pog.
Yeah.
Poggers.
I Hayden let me know 2 weeks ago that Pog means play of the game. I felt like a boomer because I didn't know.
Know that?
Is that how poggers happen then?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. All are all movements.
I'm actually the silent generation. I grew up with George Carlin.
Yeah, me too.
I miss George Carlin so much. I feel like he's one of those comedians that a lot of like dumb status quo right-wing comedians like always bring out. Is like, oh man, you couldn't do George Carlin jokes today, but George Carlin always like wrote jokes critiquing power structures and systemic oppression, and he had no love for this fucking like, oh, you can't say blah 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 anymore, because George Carlin didn't even like agree with the premise. He was like, you can say anything as long as it's actually funny. No one's going to get mad if the joke works.
Yeah, and if it's, well crafted and it's not just like for shock value's sake.
Yeah, he always knew like when to press the empathy button, which I think is like a really important thing that fucking Are You Triggered Yet Netflix comedians don't understand.
What is the quick crash course history on For Your Health? Like, are there any For Your Health bands? I think a lot of people know that Damien was in Arrows in Her.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know. I was in another emo band in Columbus. I was playing drums, and I'm trying to remember what even happened at the beginning of this. Because it all feels like it happened.
I remember.
It's like, well, I met you. You were working at a restaurant, and I came in, and my friend was wearing a Gouge Away shirt, and I was like in the bathroom, and I came back, and you were like talking to them about Gouge Away, and I was like, holy shit, cool server. And then you were just, I don't know, you were talking about music.
That's me.
Yeah, yeah. You were talking about music.
Actually,
sorry. I don't know. And then like we were like, oh, we should jam sometime or something.
All right, so so to answer what you were saying, I did briefly join before I moved to Columbus and Arrows broke up. I was playing guitar in like a power violence band called Weatherlore with my friend Gigi, who plays in Soul Glow, and Ross. And then I moved here, did a little punk band with my coworker for a few months. And then I met Hayden, and I had met the vocalist of Hayden's band before. And that was originally like, oh, let's jam sometime. And then I lost my job. At the restaurant, and then Hayden, Hayden was just like, let's make some like angry music. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely down, because I was, jobless, and I was like pretty frustrated, needed an outlet.
Yeah, it was epic. You came over to my house, and I was sort of smashing the drums, and my roommate at the time, our first drummer, Sandro, came down and started playing with us. Was it just us three the first day, or
no? Johnny was there.
Johnny came over the first time.
Actually, no. He might have come. Like, he might not have been there the first time.
Yeah, no, I don't think he was. I think that was the second day. And then we were having a lot of fun. We're like, we should do this tomorrow. And my friend Johnny, we had come over and play bass, and we were like, this is a band. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the origin right there.
So
that's when we wrote Nosebleeds. We just like started like spitting out songs.
It seemed like ever since Nosebleeds came out, y'all were like permanently on tour.
Yeah, it's funny. We talked about this recently because like right when the band was forming, I don't even know if we had a name yet. I remember Damien got the name of the band off a candle that was on my porch while we were just like chilling.
Oh shit! I thought it was a Check It Out reference.
Of course.
For the longest time.
Oh no, that's the gap. Everyone thinks it's that, but it's not.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
It was this candle that said "Paro tu Salud."
Oh word. Okay.
Yeah, and we were like, that's a good name. Because the thing, we sort of the band, everything surrounding the band was really messy at the beginning. Like I pretty much the reason why we had the time to jam, like Damien said, he was on a trip and lost his job. Well, came back to no job. And I was supposed to go on tour. My band was like, we were supposed to go on tour with Worst Party Ever. And then basically I got kicked out of that band right like a couple days before the tour started. I didn't really want to go to work and like pick up shifts and shit. So I just like we sat at home, like started like this new band. And I had the show booked at my house. I ran a show house at the time. We needed another band to play because some things were falling through. So we decided like that would be our first show. And that's really what I think like sort of lit a fire under our ass a little bit because we were like we have like something to go towards. We got to write these songs. We got to pick a band name. And so we just decided like we should just keep going full steam with the band, like record music, like put out vinyl, go on tour and stuff. Like I said, it's kind of funny. I think we talked really early on about doing like a 2-week tour the next summer or whatever. And that sort of just that turned into us like being on tour for like over 3 months in 2019. And I don't know, we just kept booking tours and they were fun. We were all sort of on the same page, and I don't know, we didn't really slow down.
Yeah, I remember like there was some weird shit that happened on one of those tours. Hayden, you lost all your clothes.
Yeah, I mean a lot of life happened on those tours because like you said, we were like out all year. One of those things was the van door. This was when we were in Florida with Shingard, and we were all sharing a van. By the way, it was 8 people.
Oh my god!
Each other. We barely knew each other. It was so funny. We decided, like I said, we met, and we decided we're gonna tour and do a split. And we wrote a split, and then we went on tour for a month and shared a van. And I mean, yeah, people do that, but it was an experience. Like by like day 25 or 26, like we were all pretty feral. Tensions were high. That was around the time where shit was hitting ahead, and we were leaving Tallahassee for a show in Atlanta, where we met the Dow Boys for the first time, Palace Dow Boys. And the door was open in the van, and we started driving, and I heard like a thump, and I was like, stop, I don't think we closed the door. And like one of us gets out, and they're like, I don't see anything, let's go. And then we get to Atlanta, which is like 5 hours away, and I'm just like, hey guys, where's my bag? And like the van is already fucking destroyed at this point. Like there was no semblance of order. Everything was everywhere this far into the tour. So I just like pulled everything out, and like I realized like my shit was not there, and it had just fallen into the street in Tallahassee. So I did the rest of that tour with like the clothes that I was wearing. And like some bands we played with gave me some shirts and shit.
Yeah.
But it was pain.
I remember I was gonna was asking for your address because I was gonna buy you underwear. And then I remember, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just being stupid," and just sent you money instead.
It was fine. It was, it was like it sucked, but like there were worse things that happened on tour.
I believe it was Short Fictions who mentioned something about something named Screamo Knife. That's a tour thing.
Oh God.
Yeah, that was a different tour.
Yeah.
That Screamo knife. Yeah, I think we were in the South, Kentucky or Tennessee maybe, and there was just a gas station that had they were selling switchblades, and I was like, that's not allowed. But like I bought a knife, and yeah, that's our sort of our mascot, Screamo knife.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't
And
something about
Bucky.
like someone accidentally boarded a plane with it?
Oh, yeah, Ryan. Okay, so
that was Ryan.
I was with Short Fictions, and I accidentally left my knife with them. And Ryan had to go to Texas because this was like right when COVID was starting. And he came back he was going to school in Texas and came back to Pittsburgh. And I guess like he just literally he had it in his pocket and forgot about it, and somehow it got through TSA, and he was like rummaging through his pockets on the plane looking for something, and he just pulls out a knife. Yeah. So it's been places.
That rocks.
It's been in the air.
All right. Kyle, this topic that I think is really fascinating. How did For Your Health get the Twinkle Dork approval? Because I remember like when y'all did the Reddit AMA, it like popped off. Like all like the new Jack Dorks on our emo like were super down with For Your Health, which I thought was actually like really cool and out of character for them. Yeah, it's like it's like worth noting that y'all are like one of the bands that have this heavy crossover appeal, kind of similar to Shin Guard, honestly,
Yeah.
which like makes the split make even more sense.
I don't want to take credit for it, but probably.
You think it's the Arrows and Her connection?
I mean, it could be that, but it could also just be the songwriting. Like the guitar stuff is, there's a lot of nice chords in there. Even if it's heavy, like I'm using, emo, quote unquote, math rock emo chords.
Right.
And there's some cool rhythmic stuff going on. There's like you have to drive in kind of feel to it too. Like it's not straight abrasive. Like there are blast beats and stuff, but it's not like metal oriented heavy. It's got, there's a little more flavor to it. Some people that maybe just really liked Arrows just gave us the green light for that. I don't think that we were like that. I don't know. I have a weird self-perception problem where I just feel like, I don't think that many people really gave a shit about that band or whatever. But that's just me. I think it's just songwriting wise, it's not that big of a stretch, I guess.
I'm just saying, like we played with a lot of like DIY emo bands. Like that's primarily. I mean, we didn't start playing hardcore
definitely
shows until like a while in. That's who we were friends with. It's like I don't know. Damien's been playing music forever. Like I ran a show house and I just booked hella people, and like our first tour was with Short Fictions, and
yeah.
Oh.
And y'all are really tight with Awake But Still in Bed too.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's just the, I don't know. That's who we hang out with, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
We're just sort of like, sometimes we're like, I don't know. Sometimes it's like the heaviest band at like an emo show, or like the softest band at like a hardcore metalcore show. I don't know.
Which I think that's a cool dynamic. I think that means that you have like a really broad appeal, which is good. Like not just in like a career sense, but like in like a sonic evolution sense, because it means you have like the birth to explore like a wide variety of sounds without people being like, oh, I preferred For Your Health back when they sounded like blah,
like shit back when we sounded like shit.
The thing was though that I remember Sophie's floorboard posting about us
oh yeah,
like right before we recorded Death of Spring, and they were like they were praising the music, and like we all thought it sounded pretty bad because it's like lo-fi or whatever, but I remember when Sophie's floorboard seemed to have really nice things to say about Nosebleeds. I was like, nice, like, because Sophie's floorboard's like a pretty, maybe not as much anymore, but they used to really put people onto shit, so it was cool that they weren't that they didn't overlook us or whatever.
Maybe next year we should try and get Sophie's Floorboard person on the pod, Kyle.
I think that'd be sick.
Yeah, that'd be tight.
Yeah.
They follow us.
Oh shit, that's right. I forgot about that.
Hell yeah.
I thought that For Your Health kind of sounded like familiar enough that it wasn't, because it, like you said, At the Drive-In Tendencies, you know, like Blood Brothers stuff too, and like it's something familiar
Daughters and
enough.
stuff, and,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I hear
familiar
the-
enough
I hear-
that it's not like just in the like throw you off in the deep end of like obscure, shitty sounding screamo.
Yeah.
Honestly, Canada songs, like I can hear that influence on Nosebleeds hella.
Yeah, I was a really big Daughters fan I still am, but I wanted to make Screamo music for like a decade. So I feel like that, you know, lead up to the opportunity to actually do that, you know, I didn't just jump into it and say like, what is this that I'm doing? Like, you know, I've been a fan of chaotic, you know, but also dancey and sassy, mathy, you know, the whole, you know, I was really into Kid Crash. So like, you know, I feel like I felt like I knew, like, I mean, it was like stream of consciousness the way we wrote Nosebleeds, but I also think it was coming from a well-informed place. So it's kind of cool. I don't know. I still like that record, you know?
Same. It's a really good record. Damien, do you remember us talking outside End of an Ear and you were like, yeah, I've always wanted to do a Screamo band. And I was like, oh yeah, when is that going to happen?
Yeah. Right. No, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that it was, Screamo's to me is like kind of broad, right? Cause like,
Right.
you know, you could say, I mean, there's a lot of people that think Fear Before could be a Screamo band, but then most people are like Seisha or Orchid or Page 99 or City of Cal or whatever, you know? And I don't know. I don't think like tropey Screamo sucks, right?
Right.
So like, if I'm going to do Screamo, I'm not going to just do Screamo. I'm going to do all the different stuff that I like, and, you know, keep it interesting. I mean, I think that's for any songwriting, but I don't know. I just think, you know, of course you fall into tropes sometimes. You lean into them a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at, because For Your Health to me has never sounded like, oh, we're just trying to sound like, you know, Midwest Screamo bands from 99 to 01. Like, y'all have a very unique sonic identity. Even like the new LP, which I think is maybe the most Screamo influenced thing, like to my ears, that you've done so far, it still is like pulling from all these different areas of underground music that it sounds really unique and special.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of, you know, should be the point. I don't know. I can't speak for other people's interests in creating music, but like, it's hard to say like, okay, I want to do something so unique and original that only I've done it. And like, you know, that you could try to do that, but you're going to end up either making really bad music that's very unique, but it's bad, or, you know,
Hello
you pull
Kitty
from,
Suicide Club.
Yeah, whatever. Or you pull from like a bunch of unexpected places and you make something that, yeah, is familiar, but you can say like, oh, well, I haven't really ever heard this take or this approach, or, you know, the use of these two things in conjunction with each other or whatever. I think that's how you get interesting creative music that's original, but it's not like some weird abstract noisy like whatever just for the sake of saying this has never been done music, you know?
Yeah, that's what separates us from the prog nerds. Yeah, I think another thing about that is like we have like a broad range of influences in the band. There's also an age gap. It's like 10 years, so it's like there's a lot of different. It's a different generational music. Like Damien was brought up with different music than I was. Like, yeah, I feel like a lot of the times it makes sense because you're writing like the guitars. It's like we get like comparisons to bands that broke up before I was born, and like yeah, I don't know. I like that. I think we combined like, I don't know, like the classic like Screamo stuff, you know, just like Orchid and Seisha and Page 99 and that shit, and then like Fear Before and like Fall of Troy and daughters and stuff like that, but also like I mean
Fall Out Boy.
I thought, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know, like I love Fall Out Boy and like My Chemical Romance and stuff, and some of that bleeds through, I think.
Yeah, like I remember the first time I heard like basically the most obvious melodic vocal parts in all, you know, the 3 songs that have like really like a melodic type chorus or whatever, and being like, yeah, that's definitely got a Fall Out Boy vibe, which I would have never made, you know, because I was so used to making vocal melodies, and I was like, I would have never thought of that. But that's kind of the beauty of it, you know, is that's I think the beauty of collaboration is that you could, if you're the sole dictator of what happens musically, melodically, whatever, like you're not, yeah, like you're just in your own head, and maybe that's awesome. But I think that's what makes making music with other people so great, is like, oh, I would have never thought of that, and it sounds awesome, and that's cool.
Drop a heart, break a name.
Yeah.
Is that a Fall Out Boy reference? I don't know.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm like restraining myself from like doing a horrible Patrick Stump impression right now.
Hey, Damien, have you ever heard a little song called Sugar We're Going Down?
All right, here's the thing. I was well aware of Fall Out Boy. Like, they came out when I was a teenager, so it's not that I'm too old for Fall Out Boy, it's I just never liked Fall Out Boy.
Too cool.
Not too cool, just I never liked it because I was already into, when I heard it, I was already into like punk and like, you know,
Too cool.
like whatever, like
Who is
non-mainstream
the third
type
guest
stuff.
here?
My partners are saying too cool.
Too cool.
Oh. Hi, how are you?
They can't hear you. I have headphones
Okay. Hi, how are you?
They say, hi, how are you? I just, you know, I mean, I love Save the Day, and, you know, I remember finding out that that's how Patrick got into Fall Out Boy, was doing All Through Being Cool. So it's not like that there's a huge, it was just a personal thing, and maybe, yeah, I was 15 and I was too cool, right? But, you know, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked Arrows in Her, and I think I heard them because it was right in the middle of Broken World, just like putting out like classic album after classic album for that era.
Oh yeah, don't get me started. But yeah, they had an era for sure. That was why I waited 2 years for that record to be put out on there, and then it immediately collapsed and the band broke up.
Was that right when they were folding or whatever?
It was, our record came out July of 16, and they basically, I didn't even realize when the demise happened, but I could say before fall of 16 they were pretty much done.
Because yeah, it was like around that time, whenever you ordered a record from them, they'd send you like 8 records, and I was like, what the fuck's going on here?
Oh wait, is that when because they had like they like liquidated.
Yeah,
they were selling records for super cheap, like not that long ago. But this was, you know, 2016. So this was, I think we maybe are talking about.
Yeah,
right?
that's probably. I don't know. It was probably like a year or so after that when, like, I don't know, whenever I'd order something from them, they would just like send you an ass load of stuff, and it was like, I remember they like folded. And they had like a huge sale where they were like selling everything, like possibly like every test press and everything too. But like, I think they like officially did put out a statement, but there was a time where it was like, what's going on?
Yeah, that was like right when I want to say Prince Daddy and Dear Leap, like it was like right at the tail end of it, slightly after our record got put out, that they just you know, just went off the grid or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I think like, so basically Arrows was like a full on, there was just like 3 separate times that labels kind of just killed my joy for music. And so it's kind of funny that when I moved to Columbus for the sole purpose of like getting my life together, not touring anymore, or whatever. And then I was just probably the most depressed I've ever been. And then with this band, it was just like psych, and just like went full steam ahead and just, you know, went for it. And that was nice.
Hell yeah.
is nice. Was nice. I don't even know.
It was nice.
No, the band's name literally is Nice.
Yeah. What's up, Roddy?
I'm following Kyle's notes very closely.
Go for it.
It seems like current Screamo and Adjace bands are evolving and pivoting into just general quote-unquote heavy bands, i.e. Shin Guard, Wrist Meat Razor, Portrait of Guilt, GIF, etc.
Portrayal of guilt.
Any theories or observations as to why there's... So, like, I'm just gonna throw my take in, like, right off top here. I think it's because, like, a lot of the newer Screamo bands grew up on, like, scene metalcore and deathcore, and so they still have that, like, oh, we love breakdowns and absurdly ignorant heavy riffs, like, energy. And even Wrist Meat Razor, the guys in that band are a little older, but they grew up on, like, Zayo and shit. And I think that what it is really is just, like, this slow realization that, oh, it's fine to actually, like, acknowledge these influences. Like, no one's going to shit on us for not being cool anymore because coolness is becoming a dead concept.
I definitely thought that it was kind of like a nostalgia and like actually wearing the influences. Are there like many examples of like lifer Screamo bands? Like bands that put out like more than one album that is just pure Screamo?
Saddest Landscape.
Yeah.
Sean
yeah.
Becker's stuff. Touche, depending on if you consider them Screamo or not.
Yeah, but they also
Tom Schlatter.
Oh, yeah.
Projects,
Hundreds of
Capacities, Hundreds of AU. What of Us?
Yeah.
And that was also Ross, who I mentioned earlier. Ross played on What of Us. In What of Us, not on.
I think there always have been heavy Screamo bands or Screamo influenced bands that are just heavy. I don't know that it's necessarily like a trend or a pivot because like there's like consistently been like bad Midwest Screamo bands throughout all of this as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, you mentioned like Portrayal of Guilt. That band's always been heavy as shit.
Yeah.
GIF was like Me and Him Call It Us Worship. They've always been heavy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And the Wrist Meat Razor thing just makes sense. They got their name from a Usurp Synapses song. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's the heavy stuff. I think a lot of the time it's just like, it's maybe a natural progression of like the songwriters like just doing their thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point because even like Seisha, like they were influenced to go heavier because of Earth Crisis, and like you and I also had like influence from metalcore too. So even if you go back to like the very beginnings of what we consider like the classic Screamo sound, there's always been that moshy.
Like you said,
drive.
Screamo is like really like a really broad term. Like Majority Rule is heavy as shit, and then there's like bands that you consider like William Bonney is considered Screamo. So it's like it really means nothing. It's just a word.
Exactly. So really, maybe the pull to get heavier is just to not get compared to William Bonney.
Maybe it's just because heavier music is more fun to play, and everybody realizes that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's what's happening in emo right now. Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, heavy music live rules. So
I know I'm on a podcast called The E Word, but I'm just gonna say it. Emo sucks.
That's the entire thesis statement of our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is actually a podcast to get me out of emo.
Yeah. It's called The E Word because we never want to talk about emo ever again.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there. We solved the Screamo crisis.
The gang solves the Screamo crisis. And then, Kyle, you also wanted to talk about the For Your Health Twitter.
Of course. I think that's what people are here for, right?
For Your Health has one of the best Twitter presences of any band that, like, of this
that's
current
all Hayden.
period. Oh, shit.
I lost 25 followers in the past 3 days. They weren't ready for the election.
Like, every day Hayden is just like, I'm about to tweet. My favorite is just basically you and I came up with the same joke, but I'm still furious that you tweeted it like 20 minutes before I did that day after the election. Don't forget to vote today.
I think my favorite kind of brand of your jokes is that you make so many people angry by them not getting the joke, and I have to wonder if that is exhausting or is that kind of your objective the whole time?
I wouldn't say it's my objective. I don't think I'm that much of an asshole. I like tweeting. I just think I don't know. I like to post because I think it's funny, and then I think a lot of people like get roped into it. Like, I mean, a lot of the times that people get like really mad about shit, they're not even following me. They saw it because someone retweeted it or liked it or something.
But it's just so funny and frustrating to watch people just like not get that this is obviously a joke.
I tweeted something like, was it like September when like DIY Twitter was just having like a 24/7 temper tantrum like that whole month?
Mm-hmm.
And I tweeted something like, "For Your Health has never done anything wrong." Someone replied like, "Oh no, what did they do now?" And I was like, "Nothing. That's the point of this fucking tweet." And then they like got into like this weird argument with me where they accused me of getting big mad because they were big mad, and then they like hate followed me, I think. And I assume that they have now unfollowed me because I post anti-small bean shit every day. I think it's like I one of the things I admire about the For Your Health Twitter is that you just do not suffer fools. I remember one person being like, "But Biden is lesser evil," and Hayden, if I'm assuming it was you because Damien said that
it was Hayden.
Yeah, you just like broke down piece by piece like why exactly that is not true from like a materialist perspective, and they just cried. They just cry tweeted. That I think is what Twitter is for, is just making Ulus cry tweet.
Cyberbullying is okay.
How is cyberbullying even real? Just like close your eyes, just like walk away.
Okay, someone's gonna try and cancel us like right before this episode airs when they find out we have an album coming out.
So I made the mistake of trying to try to speak to one of these people that was a 21-year-old anarchist or whatever.
21-year-old anarchist.
Oh yeah, didn't you just post their bio in response to their tweet? That was great.
Well, I said, yeah, no, I forgot the exact.
Oh, okay.
I think I did say something like a sickle and hammer in bio or something, but yeah, I just was trying to say like, hey, like, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, predatory people shouldn't be held accountable and blah 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 and stuff. I'm saying that y'all are ready to like with the pitchforks for everybody, and now that, you know, being anti-cop and anti-capitalist and whatever is like, you know, the culture, now y'all are just the same, you know, reactionary issues that society at large has are now this is a microcosm of like you growing up in a capitalist racist system, whatever. And they were just like twisting my words and like being like writing me off. And I was like, I'm trying to talk to you like a quote unquote comrade. I'm not trying to be a dick or whatever. And then I was like, I can't. I'm just not going to talk to these people because they literally are reactionaries that think that they're not somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, you made the mistake of like, because me and Damien had this talk a couple times before. He's always scared that like, I don't know, I take it too far or whatever. But like, and then he tries to talk to one of the people that's mad. It's like, oh yeah, they're just babies.
Yeah, canceled.
I don't know. Like, I don't try to be overly antagonistic. I just like that's not my intention. I'm just like tweeting from the band account because that's what you do in 2020, you know, to get engagement and attention. And like, these are just like thoughts that I would tweet on my personal account, but I have a band account, so. This
is really tangential, but because like I was just thinking about this again because Dina and I have been watching like this Scientology documentary. But one of the weird things I've noticed is that like what people do now, like when they decide that somebody is in the bad box instead of the good box and they must be quote unquote held accountable via Twitter is basically just what Scientology does. They Scientology was like canceling people in the 80s and 90s. Like someone would say shit like, hey, there's a lot of like abuse and exploitation happening in the Church of Scientology, and then Scientology would make a website about them that was like, what really is the line between anti-Scientologist and child murderer? And that's basically like the vibe that I get from people who don't like what you say on social media.
Yeah.
And it's not effective, obviously. It just makes you look dumb and bad. But it is like just depressing.
I feel more hopelessness with the state of quote unquote leftists. This is a whole thing, and maybe this would be more appropriate under the election thing. But
I think we can like comfortably pivot now.
Yeah.
I think to the election section.
Yeah, I think that just seeing. I mean, obviously, this isn't. I really hope it's not like an actual sample of Twitter is not the actual population of leftists in this country. I fucking pray not.
Yeah, it's not representative of anyone without like debilitating stupidity.
But I do feel like it's scary how many of people's thoughts and beliefs come from looking at leftist tweets, though.
And not to say that there isn't great discourse, because there is, and there's really good critical analysis and linking of like theory to read and organizations, and that's obviously not what I'm talking about. But there are definitely people that I just don't think they understand. They were liberals, a month ago, right? So like they don't know the line. I think they just don't really know. They have no real concrete belief system. So they're kind of just being reactionary, not understanding that they're being reactionary. And someone that's set, has a take that's well worded and eloquent and uses like the buzzwords that are big in leftist discourse, and then all of a sudden now this person's worldview is shaped that way, and that's a problem.
Yeah, and I think one of the best like examples of this is I tweeted from the E-word something like y'all will have fucking ACAB in your bio and then also buy a Biden Harris sticker. And just kind of expanding on that, I was like, I genuinely do feel like if the Democrats had run George W. Bush on his like 2004 platform, that people that like self-proclaimed leftists would still vote for him over Trump. And that's a huge problem. Yeah. And somebody was like, well, shit, man, what are you supposed to do? And I was like, there are a lot of options available that do not include voting for war criminals.
Yeah.
It's just good vote for Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, that's the CIA dog murderer vote, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know, this whole election like arc, this season finale of the Trump era has just been really aggravating to me on an ideological level. Like there is no cohesion. I'm not saying that it is a bad thing that Trump is going to leave office, but I am saying it is a bad thing that Joe Biden is going to be the next president of the United States.
Yes, both things are true. I'm enjoying Trump's demise, and I'm enjoying that Trump lost. I hate Trump, obviously. I mean,
he hasn't lost yet. He keeps asking me for money in my email so they can secure the election.
My favorite thing about this whole saga is also that like when Trump was very clearly losing, I guarantee you he like called up Mitch McConnell for help, and Mitch McConnell was like, "Thanks for the Supreme Court, idiot. Goodbye." Like the Republicans are definitely going to be considering like Trump himself like politically toxic because he is. But
I don't know though. He's still going to be influential to the Republican Party, which is
of course. But it's not going to be like Trumpist rhetoric in itself. it's going to be like a lot of economic populism fused with this cultural and social conservatism that's going to look a lot like, straight up fascism, not like the weird fusion of neoliberal policy and fascist rhetoric that Trump was like spewing not on purpose. Like he wasn't a fascist on purpose. His brain is soup, like, and he is just like a sack of pink rotten McDonald's meat. He has no ideology in and of himself, but people like Josh Hawley or Tom Cotton, who are going to be running on like this, again, economically populist platform and providing superficial protection for working class people, I think is we're going to see like a weird kind of realignment of the political parties soon. Because the Democrats have also fooled themselves into thinking that the reason Joe Biden won is because he's so close to being a Republican.
I mean, he is, but yeah.
Yeah. But the fact is, like, when you look at, like, the down ballot races, 80% of DSA endorsed candidates, like, won their elections because their policies are popular. But Democrats in general lost across the board because people are sick of, like, this superficial non-solution bullshit. Like, look at Florida. Fucking, it went Trump, but they voted in like the $15 minimum wage. And then in comparison, California voted in Biden, but also voted voted for the bill that would make Uber and Lyft drivers independent contractors, which is like a horrible blow against the gig economy working class in that state. We're still in hell world. Like, it's not even like a victory or we can like take a breath and regroup. It's more like one down the entire rest of the US government to go.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I keep seeing like people, obviously shitting on like who cares? Like it's like
There's this meme that was like presidency ended with Trump, now Joe Biden is my symbol of US neocolonialism. And it's like, it's like so true. It's like, there's like people like dancing in the streets and shit. And I'm like, and then like, people are obviously making fun of them. And then in reaction to that, people are being like, oh, let people enjoy things. We killed the fascist. It's like,
Fascism famously, which can be defeated through voting.
We voted out the I saw this other meme that was like, it was like Always Sunny, and it was like, the gang votes out the fascist, and I was like, you're interrupting my brunch. But yeah, I don't know. I just like to let people enjoy things is like not apt in this context. It's like, I don't know. I am enjoying nothing. I feel nothing when Joe Biden won. I felt nothing. I just like is still just dread. I don't know.
No, what you're misunderstanding is just the hope and all the good vibes and the victory that people will feel in the Middle East as they see bombs dropping on them with BLM and rainbow flags.
This is cold as hell. Trans women thrown into male prisons, but the pronouns in the bio,
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, just
Kamala.
Yeah,
she, her,
it just
yeah.
sucks. Yeah,
that's another thing that's really annoying is identity politics, liberal identity politics. I saw something that really kind of just it was so annoying because I'm like, really? Okay. So there was like a super nice, well directed, well written, whatever Amazon commercial. And it was real inclusive and all that. And people are like, oh my God, I love this. I'm doing all my shopping on Amazon now. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. That's what makes me just real dreading and hopeless in the face of, fascism, is that leftists are just like literally, it's like shiny objects. Like you just dangle some diversity and everyone's like, this is great. No, not nothing to see here. Systemic racism and inequality. No, not an issue.
Mr. Bezos, welcome to the resistance.
Yeah, literally. I think also just like another thing is like people were expecting like a blowout from Biden or whatever. Like Trump, even after all that he's done, still got almost 50% of the votes. Like, I don't know. That's just like the baseline for America. Is just like they even after all that, they're just like, yeah, we want Trump again.
Yeah. That's what I thought was like so alarming that people were like, another 4 years of this is great.
He did win. Biden did win like a significant portion of the electoral votes, but when you look at the actual margins in the states that won him the election, they were like razor thin.
Yeah.
Mm.
And what it comes down to is class, obviously. And I think one of like the most infuriating things that I saw on Twitter was, and this was before Flint like went blue, like as more mail-in votes coming in, but it was like a screenshot of like Flint, Michigan being red, and the person tweeted fucking, and I don't want to hear you asking for clean water ever again. Like, congratulations, you have become so woke that you are now denying poor people clean water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, that's just like they backpedaled and said it was a joke, and I was like, that's a bad joke. But like it's just like even the other constituents, it's like, oh, so just fuck everybody else like that lives here. I don't know.
Yeah, all this fucking like, why the South should just fucking secede again, and we can have like our blue utopia, as if the South doesn't have like the highest concentration of oppressed people in this fucking country. Like, where do you think the civil rights movement started? Not in fucking Los Angeles. It started in the fucking belly of the beast. The people who are most ready to fight against fascism and oppression are the people who are currently most under the boot. Like, just this idea that we can solve everything by cutting off, creating like this neoliberal woke capitalist utopia while ignoring actual injustice happening everywhere else feels so disgusting to me.
You'd be hard pressed to find a more racist area than the Northeast, honestly. So
yeah.
I don't know. Boston and New York and New Jersey, upstate New York, outside of New York City, even New York City, but up Pennsylvania, that shit's terrifying, honestly.
It's just white people are racist everywhere.
Yeah, that's definitely
and libs are like, we don't claim that. We're the good blue white people.
Can I share a hot take? I think that if Bloomberg had been the Democratic candidate, that it actually might have been like more quote unquote harm reduction to vote for Trump. Like, because imagine just Bloomberg instituting his fucking stop and frisk policy like all over the country. Like it would have been actual like Big Brother 1984 territory, like the way that the right wingers scream about all the time. Really, this whole from the primaries to now has just been such a wild ride, and sometimes I just sit and think and get nostalgic for like how excited I was when Bernie Nevada. I felt like, oh shit, this is like a popular candidate. I'm like part of something, and we have a real chance to like make a difference in the lives of people who are genuinely suffering in this country. And then everyone dropped out on Super Tuesday, except for Elizabeth Warren. Hell World, Clown World, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, ain't that a Great Death album?
New Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I got out all my fucking yelling and screaming.
Yeah, it's liberals suck. They're the same as conservatives, basically. Yeah, they support neocolonialism, neoliberalism, and bombing the Middle East and coups all around South America and Africa and the Middle East. And like, I'm gonna be real, and it is a bit of a fantasy, but if there was ever like a really like a legitimate socialist, communist, whatever revolution, and the numbers were there, and somehow the whatever, there's a lot of lot of stuff that would need to be like in place for it to actually be legitimate. But I mean, liberals would be right alongside conservatives in the re-education, you know, whatever you want to call it.
The gulag.
Yeah, sure, gulag.
I think one of like the craziest things is that this Biden win might have actually hurt like mass left-wing resistance, because people are going to like become apathetic and content because it is the blue man who is doing all the awful shit instead of the red man. Like I saw this meme that was like Andy from Toy Story, and it was like it labeled him as like a liberal, and he was dropping Woody, who was labeled BLM ACAB. I don't want to play with you anymore. So if I have like my own like closing thought about this, it's that. So y'all also constantly saw that fucking like voting is like a bus metaphor, right?
Yeah.
For anyone listening
From
who
the soy
somehow
boys
has,
on TikTok.
yeah, anyone listening who hasn't seen it, it's like voting is like a bus. You might not find one that takes you exactly to your house, but you get on the bus that takes you closest to where you want to go. And I showed that to Dina, and I give all credit for this to Dina because she is brilliant and I love her. But she said it's more like getting on a plane, and you get on the Democrat plane, and they keep telling you that we're about to take off. And then an hour goes by, and they say, oh, no, really, we're going to take off. And then another hour goes by, and they're like, we're taking off soon, I promise. And then there's a malfunction, and everyone has to deboard and get on the Republican lane, which is on fire and about to crash into the side of a cliff.
And you know what's crazy about that is like some people willingly got on the on fire plane first.
Yeah. I thought it was really funny that the Republicans like the left wing has always had this like fucking don't vote for third parties because you're just going to enable a right wing win. But now it's like the Republicans who are like, oh, you fucking Joe Jorgensen voters cost us the election. A really funny mirror image.
Horseshoe theory in action. I'm like troubled with the idea of like being snapped into reality and realizing that there's just so much work that needs to be done, and that liberals definitely are not, you know, I don't like saying comrades, but they're not partners, whatever you want to call them. They're the second head of the hydra that is, you know, U.S. politics and whatever. So, you know, the idea of a third party that's like a workers' party, you know, that has, you know, social democrat or democratic socialist leanings would be cool. But I don't know, the mobilization that would take, and then, you know, the amount of, you know, lesser evilism that would happen with that is just, it's not, it just feels very, you know, if we were to try to do it by the quote unquote civil means, you know, without, you know, guerrilla warfare and all that, you know, what that would entail, it still just feels like, I don't know how you would get liberals on board, because they do a lot of pearl clutching, and they're just as, you know, like I said before, reactionary. So like, I think that they would be like, wait, what? Higher tax rate? Wait, what? Poor people getting homeless people getting housing and not have to work for it, and you know, addicts getting proper rehab under my tax dollar. You know, like there's too much of that dog eat dog competitive capitalist mindset in liberal, you know, just as much in liberal politics. It's just framed a little nicer. Long story short, capitalism needs to end before there's even any talk of like, I don't know, some kind of apparatus that's egalitarian.
I'm probably going to betray and anger like many of our anarchist listeners, but Lenin advocated for electoralism only insofar as like a method
you got
of
a communist party, or if you got a party that was actually legitimately part of the communist or Bolshevik or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Social Democrat was, I'm reading What Is to Be Done, and like there's a lot of talk of like the Social Democrats right now. So it's like, who killed Rosa Luxemburg? So, you know, that's the reason fascism took hold in Germany, but that's a whole other thing.
So I'm not going to pretend like even half of our listeners are like anything besides liberals, because I feel like they are.
Oh, they definitely are.
So
No offense.
I would want my final thoughts on the subject to be not convert, but educate the liberals who think like everything is going to be okay because Donald Trump is no longer the president. Why Joe Biden is actually a little bit worrisome.
I mean,
Like, is it just as simple as like listen to these episodes of Chapel?
Podcasts are definitely cool.
I mean, liberals can handle a lot of cognitive dissonance. Like, I literally saw a comment in a sub like yesterday that was like, what radicalized me was seeing right-wingers say how ugly Michelle Obama is. Like, oh yes, how radical of you to support the Obama administration. So what capitalism is very, very good at is adapting to cultural trends. And that is why you like when the protests were at their peak, you were seeing like articles in the New York Times that were at least superficially seriously attempting to discuss the subject of police abolition. And you know, that is also like that's also why like identity politics has taken such a strong hold in the Democrat Party. If they can give lip service to these things, then they don't have to address like the true underlying class-based economic reasons that social issues are perpetuated. So what really needs to happen is that the contradictions need to be heightened to the point where it is undeniable. And I am not sure if that's actually going to happen like within our lifetime, and certainly not within the next couple elections. But things just things need to get to the point where the working class is so angry with the bourgeoisie and not aspiring to be like them that genuine change can occur.
So, like, for the longest time, I was kind of under the assumption that, like, okay, all these things that basically things like socialism are like, oh, we can never convince people in America to get on board with that. But then it's like, just why don't we look at what other countries like, you know, maybe Canada are doing? And like, why don't we just want that?
Social democratic reforms are extremely popular, even among conservatives. Like Bernie was on Fox News and got people fucking cheering for him while he was talking about his platform.
Yeah.
And it's because these sort of like universalist policies that will benefit all members of the working class and lift them up, that will provide like a better framework for attacking social ills than addressing social ills off top without addressing underlying economic factors like I was discussing earlier. And so like the want for change is there, but people are under the impression that like, you know, voting for a quote unquote socialist candidate, they're going to get their guns taken away, or they're going to all have to start medically transitioning tomorrow, or blah, 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 blah.
It literally just needs to be rebranded so people don't think the dirty word or something like that.
And I know the cliche take is Bernie would have won, but if Bernie had run, like part of his platform is he's actually like a pro 2A advocate. And I think that actually would have given him like a huge boost in a lot of the Rust Belt states that Biden like won barely or lost barely. Ultimately, it's just a question of solidarity too, because we would be blind to not acknowledge the cultural conservatism of a lot of members of the working class. I think again that's why like universalist class-based policies are important, because when you are fighting alongside someone else to improve your exigent material concerns, like you get to know them while you're fighting side by side with them, and this kind of like alienation and atomization and lack of concern with, you know, the plight of Black people in America, or the plight of trans people in America, or the plight of indigenous people in America, like those concerns become more human to you as you are all as we are fighting with them for a common cause. Does that make sense?
For sure. What you were asking was what what would turn liberals or what would wake up liberals to the issues with liberalism in general? Is that what the question was?
Yeah, but maybe in like the softest, gentlest way.
Okay. No,
Fuck you, liberals.
Well, I think what's important is, important steps, I think, is that, especially the younger generations, millennials, Gen Z, and I guess what comes after, they're still children, though. But, I think, the material conditions are, far more influential than, rhetoric espoused by MSNBC and Fox, because we're, every person I know under 40 is fucking poor and was working multiple jobs and had multiple roommates, and a lot of them don't have cars or really shitty cars, or and they have degrees, and that yet they're still making $12 an hour or whatever. So it's like that's like a big thing, is that you got to understand the material conditions dictate far more than whatever the
quote unquote culture war. Yeah,
the ideology or whatever. And I think steps that liberals can take is to just read some theory, like literally read some fucking theory, because I've seen a lot of takes where it's like, it's classist to tell people not to read, or that they need to read theory on it and all this shit, right? But it's like, okay, but socialist revolutions the world over, all over the global south, were poor people, illiterate people. Like, so you're telling me, millions upon millions of people throughout the world, and the global south especially, were what exactly? Like, they were classist because they, like, I don't get that whole, I understand, like, yes, some people, a lot of people that are poor are working too much and maybe whatever, education and whatever different things. And so I get that. But the thing is that still doesn't hold up, because, the conditions of poverty that all these people, maybe it was because the conditions of poverty were so dire in a lot of these places that it didn't matter if every single worker or citizen of a certain country, knew all their theory. But if you are in a place to understand and digest theory and, explain theory to people, and because I remember when I worked I've never been an open communist or socialist in workplaces except for when I moved here, because I worked with all kinds of liberals and Republican type people. And I remember just talking to like some of my coworkers about, the class struggle, and they were like, yeah, that makes sense. And it's like, it's pretty easy when people's material conditions align with, the ideology of scientific socialism, or whatever you want to call it, Marxism, Maoism, like it's not a huge stretch. And I think, that's also like an ivory tower approach. Like, liberals don't want to upset the order too much, because now they, their nice cushy lives, are going to be disturbed by a revolution or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think reading theory, partaking in mutual aid, contributing in whatever ways you can. You got some extra money, throw it to people that are on the ground doing the work. If you could get out there, make art that is, subversive and tells a narrative that, might get you to that point. And the thing is that, like, I don't have much family, but, if you have your older liberal or Republican family, like, I don't know, it's hard for me to dictate what other people do with their family, but like, you should try to get the point across. And if not, maybe cut them out. I don't know. But there needs to be like a lot of communication and a lot of understanding, why liberal identity politics, or them co-opting radical movements or language, is like, it's manipulation. They're manipulating you to feel like, oh yeah, this is a just thing to rally around, when in reality, people, the bankers and the shareholders and the corporations and the politicians and the people that are already doing well are all just going to be doing way better if you do nothing but shop at Amazon, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or vote for another war in Iran or wherever.
This also might be like another hot take, but in my experience, people who have been like most receptive, like over long periods of time, like working with me or hanging out with me, have been people who kind of had like Chudley sort of beliefs. because these are people who have who have suffered under capitalism, but they weren't really able to diagnose that capitalism was the problem. But they still have like this underlying anger because they know that they are experiencing class oppression, and like being able to articulate that has actually like turned like more than one person in my life around.
And I know that they were canceled and are probably kind of a hot button issue because I know that there's a lot of, I don't know it all that well, but I think ContraPoints is a pretty good, entry point for some people. Not all her videos, but she breaks things down in a funny, relatable way, and just explains terms and explains things in a digestible way. And I remember finding out about ContraPoints because my old coworker Cass was saying like, I like ContraPoints, and she has some takes that like upset the community and different LGBTQ community, trans community, and at the same time like they've turned I don't know the exact number, but apparently a lot of people that were like incels that were like edgy 4chan kind of fashy people, it kind of turned them around a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's legitimately good praxis right there, and
yes.
Also, engage in good praxis. That's something I didn't really say, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than like any liberal, or just not even just liberals, but just anyone that just like fucking reply tweets to accounts they're not following on Twitter and chastises them. That doesn't do anything. I just want people to know that.
Excuse me, Mr. President, sir. This is unprofessional, sir.
I think like one thing, it just, I feel like Twitter is just something that just magnifies it a lot. But I don't know, like for example, with people like there's that new anti-Spotify organization that like people are like retweeting, but like definitely have a Spotify premium account, and there's just so much of that where it's like at some point I want people to stop just like acting like they're for something and actually start living it instead of just like this whole posing shit, because it's
performativity.
People complaining about Amazon but have 8 Amazon packages on the way. Like at some point you have to realize that you are 100% part of the problem.
If there was a socialist takeover and Amazon became nationalized, that might actually be like a good thing.
The infrastructure is laid out. We could do some good stuff with that.
Yeah. First we need to, and bleep this, Kyle, we need to Bezos.
Absolutely. Anybody with over, I don't know, $1 million. No, over like, I don't know. That's a whole other thing. The idea of millionaires and billionaires. But yeah, no, for sure the top 10% need to go. And then we need to redistribute all their wealth and assets and property. We need to, like, if we don't kill all the landlords, we need to really, we got to be like, no, everyone's living for free. Deal with it. Be happy that you're alive. That's what okay. That's tanky. I'm sorry. I'm going too far.
We're gonna alienate the listeners.
Yeah, we'll alienate the landlords that listen to the E-word.
It's not very seeker friendly.
We're gonna alienate the DIY kids whose parents are landlords.
That they will soon be, that are gonna give them their condo so that they can pay off their student loan in 1 year and say anybody could do it.
Fuck you. That was for everyone whose parent is a landlord.
I do want to do an E-word census.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That'd be sick.
Again, Kyle, I want you to bleep this because I don't want to start unnecessary beef, but do you think we should move on to what have you been listening to, unless anyone else has like something to chime in with?
Mao was right. All right. That's all I got to say.
For anyone still with us, what have you been listening to this week?
All right, I'll start. Deftones self-titled. I slept for a long time. Shit's a masterpiece. Possibly my favorite Deftones record. Ohms is also really, really good.
Hell yeah.
Songs to Eat at the Sun, of course. Soul Glow. Album of the year at the moment. Love Will Drown the Nest and Love. Columbus homies, killing it. And then just to spice it up a little bit, I've been listening to this artist. Fuck, I don't know. I'm not great at pronouncing it, but it's just really good. It's really chill stuff. My partner listens to mostly chill stuff. I'm going to look up in my Spotify that I use because I'm a traitor. Oh, Cali Cousin Split also with Flow Patterns. That shit's sick. And then I've been listening. Where is it? Actually, I found this Jeff Beck song that's really sick. That's not really. I only listen to that one song though. But the other artist, Mereba, Mereba. It's really sick. It's very chill, and Jamila Woods as well. And that's all I got.
I've been bumping those the new Portrayal of Guilt singles a lot.
Oh, that's also sick. Yes.
I'm really excited for that album. I don't know. It's like my favorite music that they've released, and I don't know. I'm really excited for the album. There's that guy that TikTok guy that like sings numbers.
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
I don't know how to pronounce his name. I feel bad. It's like YTIET. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I've been listening to that earnestly. You gotta listen. He has a song called 41 where he counts from 41 to 49. It's pretty good. There's also 28. That one's a really good. He counts from 1 to 28. But beautiful, like beautiful.
What kind of
melodies.
music is it?
It's like pop music.
Oh, okay.
It's so sick. It's gonna really fuck up my Spotify algorithm because I've been listening to it constantly. Yeah, obviously the new Soul Glow. A lot of Armor for Sleep lately. The new Shin Guard. It's not out.
I don't have the leak yet.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, I gotta ask Owen.
Yeah,
It's crazy. I've heard it.
it's really
It's so
good.
sick.
It's a earworm. Yeah. What have you been listening to, Ellie?
New Record Setter is really
yeah.
good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I've been
Soul
meaning
Glow.
to check that out. Saw a lot of people talking about it.
Soul Glow, obviously. The new Nothing record is very, very good. Super.
Sorry, I forgot to mention the new Touche album. 1 minute. How could I?
Yeah.
Oh,
very
yeah,
good.
that shit's really good.
It's honest. It's yeah. I don't know. It's really really good. I'm really happy with it.
Have y'all listened to that Food House album yet?
No.
House. What's that?
No.
So Food House is some people that I don't know. Like I can't even like remember their names off the top of my head, but they're kind of mining like a similar like hyperpop vibe as 100 Gex.
Okay.
But it's a little bit less like direct. Like it took me a bit longer to get into it because it's a lot less obnoxious and immediate than 100 Gex, but I've been slowly feeling it like over the course of like the last couple weeks or so. I already mentioned the new Nothing record, right? Like that record's really beautiful, and just a lot of Ice Cube and Blink 182.
Hell yeah. Also Interpol. I've been jamming Interpol a ton.
Yeah, did they have a new album out?
No, I just love Interpol.
Oh shit, I was thinking of the Strokes.
Oh, fuck you.
I have 2 more to add. I was wondering if you've heard of them, but I don't know if they're a band. I think they're a band. It's like Clowncore. It's like 2 dudes dressed up clown masks.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Random dances like with a synth drum set and like a saxophone, and they're like in a porta potty and like a minivan, and they just like do some rocky shit, but with like jazzy.
Yeah, Clowncore is definitely a vibe.
Yeah, I've seen that they have since been, because forever people thought it was like Mike Patton or something, but they have been confirmed that it's just 2 like jazz musicians.
Sick.
I haven't been listening too much. I have recently decided that one of my favorite punk albums of all time is Circle Jerks, Group Sex, and I've been listening to that a lot since it's streaming again. And I am listening to Freddie Gibbs for basically the first time because I'm a poser. So I really like Pinata, and Alfredo is really good. And this isn't listening to music, but I decided to troll myself by reading the Travis Barker autobiography and immediately follow up with the Patti Smith autobiography, and that's been like going from kindergarten to a master's program. But I will say that they are both in their own unique way incredibly insufferable, because Travis Barker writes like a kindergartner and just basically says girls are cool, and Patti Smith is just hipster hell.
Does he write about God?
No.
Isn't like Travis Barker like really Christian?
No.
No? I thought he had like a Jesus tattoo on his back.
I think he has a big piece that says hope on it, which is just as bad.
My favorite thing about the Travis Barker book is that he just talks about like having sex like for pages and pages and pages.
Yeah,
like,
it's like literally on like page 20 he tells you what a vagina feels like.
Yeah, like including like him being like cheating on his wife and shit. He just doesn't give a fuck. And I also appreciate that he calls PCP Sherm, because I haven't heard that since like 2010.
Yeah, he like annotates that.
Yeah. But yeah, that book is really, really bad.
It's also like frustrating because I think a lot of people want to hear some Blink-182 stories, and there's more about the transplants in Blink-182.
Yes. Which I think says a lot about like how done he was with Blink-182.
Yeah, no, like that was my biggest takeaway. It was like, wow, Travis is pretty non-committal with Blink, it seems like.
Something that that Blink-155 talked about that I was like, yeah, that's like really true, is that Blink was really always Mark's band. Like, Scott was necessary. Like, he was like a necessary person for the early stuff. And Travis Barker like did a lot, like when it came to like arrangement and tempos. But really, like the push and pull between Tom and Mark was that Mark was kind of like this really solid pop songwriter, and he just needed Tom to like push him in all these different directions, you know?
Yeah. And like I think they talked about on the Damn It episode how like Damn It's basically like Mark like singing with Tom vocals, which is why it's so fucking great.
Yeah. That I've decided Damn It is like in the top 5 greatest songs ever written. Like I did like in my Blink-155 piece, I did like my top 5 Blink songs from each album, and I had to like exclude Damn It just because it's obvious like how good Damn It is. Mm-hmm. I know you have like Blink-155 ending in this news section, but I still just want to mention like how devastated I am. Like I actually like cried listening to that last episode.
It is a perfect ending for that podcast, that episode.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm glad that they were very earnest, and I mean,
earnest season will never end.
Yeah. I kind of want to talk about Title Fight with For Your Health here, because y'all love Title Fight a lot. I think like the best way to talk about Title Fight with people is, do you prefer the front half or the second half of the discography?
Well, what do you consider the front half?
Everything through Floral, or no, Shed.
I'd say everything except Hyperview is where I'm at.
The crazy thing about Hyperview is I still think that record is so good that it's still like the worst Title Fight record.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad record. It's not for me. I think that's true. Like if it was any other band's record, I'd be like, all right. I just kind of wish, I don't know. I just don't really like it as a Title Fight record, and so I don't know.
Do you think they're ever gonna get back together?
I think so.
Sorry,
I was just gonna say, which is funny because I like spring songs a lot.
That's what I was just pulling up here on Discogs because I forgot what it was.
Everything except Hyperview.
The Title Fight stuff I actually don't like is like their really early demos, like before they started doing the stuff that ended up on Last Thing You Forget. Yeah.
When they were like 12.
Yeah, it's still like it's still good when you consider the fact that they were 12, but it's very much like, oh no, baby, you can't write a song yet.
I think it's interesting when people like talk about Last Thing You Forget as if it's an album, because like it is like 3 different releases just smashed together.
Yeah.
And you can hear the progression in the songwriting. I think like towards the end, like the older songs are put at the end, and it's like some of those songs like Western Haikus and shit, and like
Anaconda Sniper.
Yeah, those are like decidedly like more pop punk sounding, and like than say like Symmetry and like the more post hardcore songs that are at the top end of that record.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is that it still does sound like a cohesive album, even though you can hear like the production shifting as it moves through each era.
I don't know why they didn't have Dreamcatchers on it. They should have taken off Anaconda.
That came way
Sniper.
after.
All right, well,
That was the shit.
Not super long after. It showed up on the 2010 America's Hardcore comp.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But it kind of definitely is like the bridge between where they were starting to lean towards with The Last Thing You Forget, with like the first 3 songs on Last Thing You Forget, and like the super like well-oiled machine that they were on Shed.
I think Dreamcatchers might be their best song. I don't know.
yeah, that's a great song.
It's just funny
It's a
because
good
it's a compilation track.
They have so many of their like best songs that aren't on albums. Like
yeah, like another one. Do you remember that one from that like Studio 4 comp?
Yeah.
oh yeah.
But my favorite song of theirs is still 27. That's still just like
Classic.
I like
Hurts
You
My
Can't
Heart.
Say Kingston. I think that is my favorite one.
That's
Oh,
also my favorite.
That's one that you guys covered, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we were
Good
title
one.
fight for Halloween in 2018.
Really?
It was sick.
We did Shed, Symmetry, Can't Say Kingston. And what was the other one?
The other one was an MCR cover. Sweet, because we didn't. Because our drummer didn't know how to
So
play
we only did
blast
3
for
songs?
beats. Yeah. Well, yeah, because we didn't learn them. Remember?
was the My Chem cover Drowning Lessons?
Yeah.
You know, one of the funniest things about that song is that they just decided they were never going to play it live ever again because something always went wrong when they played it. Like
That's a
someone
hard
would hurt
song to do
themselves.
live, honestly.
Yeah, but honestly, the breakdown at the end of that song is so hard. Like,
Yeah,
sick.
it's so good. It's the best part of the song.
I Brought You My Bullets has like genuine like hardcore parts. Like the chorus of Our Lady of Sorrows is a 2-step part. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
What a beautiful record.
It's their best one.
Demolition
IMO.
Demolition Lovers is maybe my favorite, actually.
It's long, but it never feels like it's not building towards something. Like it
Yeah.
flows really, really well. But my favorite My Chem song is Head First for Halos.
It's a good one. I think my favorite
That's a-
Mike Kemp song is Cemetery Drive, but my favorite
that's
album
such a good track.
is yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Bullets fan. I never really liked 3 Cheers in its entirety.
I do think 3 Cheers is a really good album, but there are some tracks that I think they could have like revamped or even left off entirely. Like fucking The Jets' Life Is Gonna Kill You, I think is like a kind of like some dead air on that record. It's just a bit too like loping and it doesn't feel like purposeful enough.
That's funny. I feel like without I'm Not Okay, that would be like a 10 out of 10 record. I just don't like that song.
It's Mike Chem doing like a Jimmy Eat World song, basically.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it sucks.
I don't even know. Nah, Jimmy World's got some songs, but no, that or got some records actually. But I don't even know what song you're talking about because I never listened to 3 Cheers. So
You don't know.
gonna
I'm
just
not
say
okay. That was like an MTV song. Like,
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm Not Okay. I like
Yeah.
that.
I love it.
I mean, I think it's not perfect, I guess, but it was pretty catchy.
I like
Yeah.
it a lot too, but it is one of like the weaker songs on that record. Oh, Kyle, since you were talking about Circle Jerks earlier, little known fact on Hang 'Em High, it's not super obvious, but like you can hear like Keith Morris like mumbling and screaming like during the final last half of that song.
Did Keith Morris record on that? Or did they
Yes.
just like sample him or something? What? Really?
No, they brought him into the studio. Yeah.
Really?
Also, Dina hates The Used, and I forever ruined guys like us in prison for her by like revealing that "Do you have the keys to the hotel?" was Bert from The Used.
Yeah.
She's like, "Why'd you have to tell me? I love that part." but apparently she hates the Used for their vocals. I don't get it.
Burt
Well, I think
rocks.
That first Used record is pretty good.
It's really
It's
good.
so good.
It is really good. I was underplaying it. I also
Box Full of
have a-
Sharp
I
Objects
feel-
is like a
Oh,
banger.
it is a banger. I'm very ambivalent towards the Used because that's all they have is that first record and a couple songs off the second one.
Yeah, In Love and Death has some really good songs. Like that song Cut Up Angels, which sounds like really like fucked up and dissonant, but still catchy. I think if they had done more stuff like that on that record, it would be like an all-time classic. But they went in like a weird, like ballady direction for too much of it.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Chamber try to beat with
Yes.
the Used in 2020?
No.
Yes. That was like right at the beginning of pandemic where everyone was just going after everyone. And it's just
Yeah,
like,
was
it was
Twitter
over
brain.
panic chords, right?
Yeah, because they were saying they were accusing the Used of ripping off Chamber, and I'm just like, what? They've never heard your band, bro.
Yeah.
That reminds me, and it's very esoteric, but it makes sense to me. I remember seeing Bert, I think it was Bert from the Used, praising this band from Jersey called Gates, and I think they went on tour with them, or they were gonna go on tour with them, and that was interesting.
What
I don't
happened
think
to
Gates ever
Gates?
did anything. They had a really good live show. They had great tone, but I think that they were just kind of basic post-rock meets emo or like post-hardcore or something. But like, it was just very like the singer kind of sounded like the dude from Thrice, and it was just kind of like if you weren't watching them live, it wasn't compelling enough to like keep listening to, in my opinion.
I think I saw them open for Pianos Become the Teeth, and I was like, this is like seeing Pianos Become the Teeth open for pianos.
So I want to ask y'all for some help. So did any of you ever read this article I did 4 years ago called "What Kind of Emo Dork Are You?"
Maybe. I feel
think
like
if
I
you
might have read that.
re-explain what happened, I can put together which one it is.
It's the one where I just like go through like different taxonomies of like emo losers. And I'm like there's like the Twinkle Dork New Jack, who can't listen to The World Is anymore because of what they said about the cops. Or there's like the basement emo dad who collects old back issues of Heart Attack and shot heroin with Matt Anderson. Just kind of like stuff like that. But I'm doing like a 2020 like update of it because I feel like it's necessary. And these are the categories I have so far, and I just want to see if y'all have anything that I should add. So I have dipshit MAGA loser whose natural habitat is front bottoms and McCafferty shows. I have two types of insidious gaslighters. Type A posts on Reddit under the username Deja Nintendo 94, and Type B posts on Twitter spaceship emoji BLM Ray Montana ACAB spaceship emoji. I have the self-canceling disaffected Twitter persona, Screamo money metalcore e-thought, Marxist Leninist scrams mommy, confused TikTok normie. This is a thing, like, I saw, me and Dina watched, like, TikToks before we go to bed, and we keep seeing, like, these people who are, like, dressing as, like, scene kids, and they're like, you guys don't understand how oppressed we were dressing emo in high school. Our culture is not a costume, like, unironically. Severely ill SoundCloud junkie, which is people who either, like, live in an apartment the size of a closet and do a shit ton of drugs and have casual sex, or they live in upstate New York, have never done drugs in their life, and jerk off 5 times a day to like trick their brain into giving them dopamine. The fake Facebook feminist punk dad, which is just Martin from Inkwell. Fake real hardcore kid, and then me, which is burnout XX blogger.
I'm online and offline at the same time, so I don't know. I can't really
Well, you're Screamo money because we
I am
coined that.
Screamo money. I'm a Screamo money e-thought for sure. E-thought mommy? Yeah.
No, the mommy is Marxist-Leninist Screamo mommy, which is just Rosa.
I guess
Yeah,
both.
that is Rosa.
We could combine those, and that's somewhere around where I'm at. Around.
Yeah, there's a Venn diagram.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are like straddling a couple of these at once. I definitely am also kind of self-canceling disaffected Twitter persona.
Actually, you know what? Me too.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm just there, but I don't do it. I don't do anything with it. I don't want to talk.